Peace to you who's watching. Today I will read my article and also comment on a little bit. The article titled Interpreting Islam for Our Present Conditions. The subtitle of this article is In Intention and Long Journey, inshallah. We will begin. Peace to you, welcome, and thank you for joining me on this journey. Islam begins with the foundation of Tawheed, which is the oneness of God. This is to say that there's no God, nothing we can worship or place above us other than Allah, the source, the originator, the one who provides rain, food, plants, and breath. This is to say that no human, this is also to say that no human is above another human in worship. We are not judges of one another. Only God can truly judge us and our actions. That we cannot judge each other. This is my understanding, right? Maybe you think differently. God has commanded us to be peaceful, to be understanding, to be just, to respect one another, and to strive to make the world a better place. Religion is sent to us not as a burden, but as a means towards moral purity, truth, justice, and ease. And if someone is using religion for something other than that, then to me that's not really religion. It's something else that they maybe call religion. Religion is meant to free us of the constraints of this world, not to make people become more trapped. And so Imam Ali, peace be upon him, instructed us of the need to not be rigid, but to understand the teachings of the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad and apply them to our current time, position, and moment. We are located in particular moments of space and time, all different, and we got to apply the meanings separately. So in the sermon number 1 of Nahj al-Balagha, the peak of eloquence, the collection of writings, letters, sermons of the Imam Ali. In this he says, this is towards the end of sermon 1, he says, the Prophet left among you the same which other prophets left among their peoples, because prophets do not leave them untended in dark, without a clear path and standing, namely the book of your Creator, clarifying its permission and prohibitions, its obligations and discretion, its repealing injunctions and the repealed ones, its permissible matters and compulsory ones, its particulars and the general ones, its lessons and illustrations, its long and the short ones, its clear and obscure ones, detailing its abbreviations and clarifying its obscurities. Contents of the book. Many. In it there are some verses whose knowledge is obligatory and others whose ignorance by the people is permissible. It also contains what appears to be obligatory according to the book, but its repeal is signified by the Prophet's action, the Sunnah, or that which appears compulsory according to the Prophet's action, but the book allows not following it. So, the book allows that, the book says certain knowledge is obligatory and others can be ignorant. And it also says that some things in the book appear obligatory, but the Prophet's action makes it not obligatory, actually. Or there are things which appear compulsory by the Prophet's action, but actually the book allows you to not follow that, and it's also okay. To conclude his thing. Or there are those things which are obligatory in a given time, but not so after that time. Its prohibitions also differ. Some are major, regarding which there exists the threat of fire. Some prohibitions which are terrible. Maybe things like murder. And there are others, and others are minor, for which there are prospects of forgiveness. There are also those prohibitions of which a small portion is also acceptable to Allah, but they are capable of being expanded. So the Prophet, the Imam Ali here is saying that There are things which are obligatory in a given time in the Quran, but not so in another time. And there are things which are prohibited in the Quran, which some of which are really major and some of which are minor, and you can actually be forgiven for this. And then there are things which are prohibited in the Quran which are acceptable to Allah, actually, a small portion of them. And the amount of those things, like the list of those things which are prohibited but acceptable, like that portion is capable of being expanded. Okay, so continuing my article. There are commands in the Quran which are obligatory in a given time but not so after that time. So for me, this is not just a commentary by Hazrat Ali, but actually a command to understand what is obligatory and what is not obligatory in a given time. Many will say that such interpretation is the duty of verified scholars and imams. But who amongst those scholars should be followed? To what extent? Which ones are acceptable to follow? Which ones are not? What about the corruption of the clergy? Those religious clerics. And what do we do if we don't have an imam or a school of Islam that we follow? And if we have found such leadership, an imam, should we follow it blindly? Should we not use our intellect, which Allah has given us to use? So I am no scholar, but I have some thoughts. And I hope that if you disagree with me, then we can have a sincere conversation in search of truth. And that if you agree with some of the things I say here, that you will also give me your perspective so that we can have a more colorful and rich understanding of our place in this universe. So where are we? What are our conditions? What are our challenges? Who are we? How are things different now than they were 10, 20, 50, 100, 1400 years ago? What has remained the same? What has changed? So these are some questions I want to explore in coming posts. I want to challenge and question prevailing beliefs about Islam and the Sharia in order to understand how Allah's message delivered by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his followers apply to us today. I believe that in the Quran, Hadith, and many signs that Allah has left us, there are answers for our everyday problems, spiritual struggles, as well as the broader systematic issues that we are faced with, which are many. And so this is my intention to find some answers, and hopefully you will join me and give me your thoughts and not become too angry, because I'm just trying to find answers for myself as well. So, peace.